Brian Johnson went on a podcast called the Botez Sisters and discussed a hot button topic, which is the idea that he claims that he wants to compete with Jesus. I just wanted to share some thoughts about that today. These are my exhaustive thoughts, and I will never have another thought about this topic again after this video is finished. This is everything that I can possibly produce with my brain. By the way, I think he's done some interesting work in terms of health and optimization, the way that he has optimized his entire life and shared it with the world is very interesting. I think there is value there, but his underlying philosophy is something that I take issue with. Okay, let's begin.
In our culture, Jesus really occupies a singular spot in people's minds, in that it's basically a do this, don't die.
Right, or so do this, and if you die, you'll go to heaven.
Yeah, exactly. Fair enough. Yes, do this, and anyways, it's like hell or heaven, but it basically is a prescriptive formula on if you do this, you get this positive outcome.
But I think it also gives people purpose. Like, it gives you a deep meaning, like you're living your life right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it basically takes all of the uncertainties of existence and it bundles it up really nicely to say, you're in a nice, cozy spot. We have and this is my upbringing. You have all the answers that you need to know about life. You don't really have any existential worries. Like, if you just follow these rules, everything is okay, which is very soothing to the human mind. And so, yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say in that concept is that nobody has fundamentally disrupted or challenged or rebuilt something that competes with the concept of Jesus for 2,000 years. It is an uninterrupted monopoly in many parts of society in terms of how do you understand reality. And so what I'm saying by that concept is that we really do have right now a situation where we have a new possibility of understanding reality in entirely novel ways. And so in that sense, I'm trying to put forward a philosophy that defines reality in a fundamental way that would take that same place of, like, we understand reality now in a different way. So yes.
So us receiving salvation and eternal life is an important part of the biblical message, but this is a very man-centered interpretation that he's presenting here. It focuses only on the aspect of Christianity that is us receiving eternal life, and it is about problem solving for him. It's like he's looking at it through a very practical lens of, this is how we solve the problem of dying. And look, I'm here to present another approach to solving the problem of dying. But this is a very skewed perspective of Christianity and the biblical message. And it leaves out God, who he is, what he deserves, and our responsibility to him as his creation. And it doesn't recognize who Christ is and his utter absolute supremacy over creation. And it ignores the position we're in as fallen humans, physically, but also spiritually. But he doesn't seem to be particularly worried about any of that. And he says nothing has competed for 2,000 years, and nothing will compete with the King of Kings. He will have his glory. God is the author of reality, and Brian cannot take God's creation and morph it into an immortal being. Now, a new development is that Brian currently has an autoimmune disease.
Hey friends, so I've got some bad news. I got diagnosed with an autoimmune condition and my stomach is eating itself.
I hope he gets well. I wish him the best. But this is an example of the reality that we are not in control as humans. Jesus, on the other hand, is God. He did some pretty neat things while he was here. He raised from the dead. There are some books about it.
So then for the people seeking it, you think it's some different version of accepting reality?
Yeah. So I guess it takes a few layers to get where this makes sense. So here's my thought process. The existing LLMs basically master all knowledge that humans have. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, it can predict most things. Like, it can predict our emails, it can predict our texts, right? We can speak to it as if it's another person. And so in time, it's going to get better in a way where it can predict us better than we even know. Like, for example, I bet that Google knows enough about all of us through our email and Google Docs, like over some duration of time. It could probably predict with a high degree of accuracy what each of us is going to do ahead of time, almost like Minority Report. Mm-hmm. because our patterns are so predictable.
I think ChatGPT can already do this for me. It knows me better than I know myself, honestly.
Exactly. So as these AIs get better and their predictive capacity gets better, at some point, it's going to be better than you. And at that point, you'll be like, honestly, it makes better decisions than I do. It actually takes better care of me than I can. It chooses a better partner for me. It actually does a better job at making these decisions at work. And when that happens, we're going to say, if I'm not a decision thing, what am I?
So LLMs are able to parse language quickly and make articulations and predictions based on human knowledge. It's very useful at helping us think through problems in fairly objective ways. It's a good tool. It can help us make better decisions, but this knowledge is sourced from our reality. It's not going to produce a new reality. It's only going to recognize our current one, assuming the job it's doing is merely parsing our current reality and making articulations about it. But I think we need to approach LLMs with great care, because who knows what could be injected in a particular tool that could lead us in one direction or another. This might feel like an odd tie-in, but this came to mind for me, and I think it might be a fruitful comparison. There's a game that I played when I was growing up called Metal Gear Solid 2. You may have heard of it. It's now famous for its seemingly prophetic plot twist where you realize you've been talking to an AI super being throughout the game instead of people. But listen to what it says to our main character here about content and context. I think it's a moment that can help illustrate my point.
We've always kept records of our lives through words, pictures, symbols, from tablets to books.
But not all the information was inherited by later generations. A small percentage of the whole was selected and processed, then passed on. Not unlike genes, really.
That's what history is, Jack.
But in the current digitized world, trivial information is accumulating every second, preserved in all its triteness, never fading, always accessible.
Rumors about petty issues, misinterpretations, slander.
All this junk data, preserved in an unfiltered state, growing at an alarming rate.
It will only slow down social progress, reduce the rate of evolution.
Right? You seem to think that our plan is one of censorship.
Are you telling me it's not?
You're being silly. What we propose to do is not to control content, but to create context.
Create context.
This game was released in 2001, by the way. Insane. I think that humans need to remain the discerning party here, and certainly don't give them cyber drugs, because they will hallucinate.
I hear it's amazing when the famous purple stuffed worm in Flapjaw space with the tuning fork.
And that's that. With this question of what are we, I think we will find nothing different than what we have always found. We are creatures that desire purpose and meaning, and we will be pressed with the question of the value of humanity. And people will come to different conclusions about that. Some more scary than others. Christians will say that God defines our value and function in the world. Now listen to this part. This is interesting.
And so I think what's going to happen in the coming months and years is, as a species, we're going to have this this existential crisis of what are we? Like if you take back through like the religious framework, I am somebody who makes decisions, right or wrong, good or bad, and I'm rewarded. But if the algorithm is making it for me, then am I good or bad, and how do I construct that? So what I'm saying is that we're walking towards this new place where we are no longer going to understand ourselves in stable ways. And in that moment, I want to say this is where we are to actually rebuild our identity. What do you think about that?
I think it makes sense, and I've heard before how you explain everything. AI is going to solve everything, so this is the only thing we have to figure out for ourselves for now until AI can even do our health better than we can.
Yeah.
For me, it's both a utopia and something very eerie, and I know you've had this thought experiment before, but if AI is actually solving everything, then what are we doing? What's our meaning?
Exactly. Yeah, and so that's what I'm proposing, is that if that's coming, then I would go a step further and I would say maybe we won't need meaning. So right now, we're making this hard assumption that we will always need meaning. And if it's somehow taken away, we need to refill it. And what I'm suggesting is the change that's coming is going to be so radical that I don't think I believe in anything anymore. I don't believe in any assumptions.
So in a framework that doesn't involve a lawgiver, good or bad is entirely subjective. And if you say that what makes us happy should be considered as good, you're not going deep enough into the issue. Now, he's referring to the possibility of us either partnering with AI or handing over the reins to AI to make our decisions for us regarding good or bad. One can imagine where this could end up, but he's actually raising an important question that a godless worldview has to deal with here. Who gets to decide what is good or bad? And can a computer make this decision? But then he also talks about this idea of doing away with meaning. Now, how would this work is an interesting question to think about. I think we would essentially be jellyfish. I mean, even jellyfish have to eat, but we would just be floating around, right? I guess that's assuming that it would be meaningful to even get in the water so that we can float. Do we just lay on the ground? I suppose we just fall down wherever we are and just kind of be there. I think as humans, we will always create our own meaning. We'll go, well, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something that seems interesting to me, right? And that meaning could end up being, I want to indulge in life's pleasures. It could be a recognition of nihilism that turns into, oh, well, I'm just going to have fun because nothing matters anyway. It could turn into some version of helping other people because you feel like that's something that matters to you. This is what we do as humans. We create meanings. But ultimately, without a lawgiver, all of that is subjective. But in a biblical worldview, God is the lawgiver who gives order to reality. He gives meaning to all things. And this world isn't about us. It's about God. It's for His glory. We get to experience His blessings, but humans are not the point. This is where I think Brian flips the whole thing around backwards. His entire focus is to produce human flourishing. He's trying to create a new religion which creates human flourishing in a certain way. Now, I don't think his point is that he is trying to be a messiah, that everybody is supposed to look at him and go, oh, this is the new Jesus. It's that he's trying to create a new religion of human life and endless flourishing. But he will not be able to achieve a utopia of immortal life. Only Jesus has the power, the ability, the authority to create eternal life. Not only physical life, but spiritual life. We all need forgiveness of sins, and we all need to be made a new creation. And only God has achieved that, and only Jesus has made the way. I hope Brian gets well, and I hope he recognizes who Jesus really is. God bless. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.